In the world of video game adaptations coming to the screen, there has always been three rules in life, right? In three certainties, they call it. Death, taxes, and video game adaptations suck. And for many decades, that adage has held very, very sadly true. I thought it was going to break when Warcraft and Assassin's Creed were coming out. And I didn't mind Warcraft myself, but I know it didn't live up to the promise of a lot of people, and Assassin's Creed just sucked. But lately, we've been getting some, well, honestly, some pretty good stuff. Highlighted, of course, by Last of Us. Sonic was pretty solid. Ray, if you asked Ray, Uncharted was great. So, I mean, so we've got some, it's been turning it around, right? Well, we got a number of other things coming, but one of the things that got a lot of people excited is Fallout. And Fallout, they just put out the first bunch of images. Now, this comes to us from Variety, who wrote the following. The Fallout TV series coming to Amazon Prime's Video has unveiled its first look images. Based on the popular video game franchise of the same name, the series is due to debut on Prime Video on April 12th, 2024. So still a little ways off. The cast of the series includes Ella Purnell, Walton Goggins, Kyle MacLachlan, I don't know how to pronounce this, Zelia Mendez-Jones, and Aaron Moten. Now, if you recognize Ella's name, she's the voice of Jinx in the greatest animated show of all time, Arcane. She was also in Yellow Jackets. A lot of people loved her in that, so she's going to be there. And, of course, you got the great Walton Goggins going to be there. So let's take a look at some of these images here. I got to tell you what, this is maybe the only major video game franchise that I've never touched. I've never actually touched a Fallout game, but I know it's insanely popular. I know Dennis Zen loves this franchise. He loves this franchise. But I think that's our first look at Walton. I think that's Walton Goggins. There's Ghoul.
Because over Ella is Kyle MacLachlan playing her father.
And the armor looks...
power armor.
I mean, I've never played it, but I've seen a lot, and it looks so right on. The costuming looks great.
Set design is on point.
What's that?
Set design is on point.
Oh, yeah. That's something somebody else mentioned to me, that the set design looks great. Yeah. And now, granted, these are only still images, right? But it doesn't look like they cheaped out on production design at all.
That's the Pridwin. That's the name. The Pridwin is the name of that ship.
Right. By the way, the only person in this room who's played Fallout is Jonathan, so he's going to have our most of our commentary. What are the other images we got here?
All right. So up next, we got some more power armor. This shot of the power armor in the Brotherhood of Steel looks awesome.
That looks awesome.
That gun that's a assault rifle. It's right out of the game.
Oh, that gun itself is right out of the game. It looks great.
It gives me like Warhammer vibes a little bit.
The
armor.
That armor does have a little bit of Space Marine vibe to it. Sure. Yeah, I get that.
She's coming out. It looks like, this kind of gives you a little bit of the Last of Us feel, where everything just went to hell, except instead of a plague, we got hit with a nuclear holocaust.
But even just this shot right here.
Yeah.
The framing of the shots just looks, I know it's an overused and misused word a lot, but it looks cinematic.
Yeah. I think his close-up, he's a ghoul.
Yeah, there he is.
These are people who survived. These are people who survived the nuclear holocaust. They were given like very extended, like hundreds of years of life from the radiation, but it also destroyed their face and everything. So they're called ghouls. And then there's feral ghouls. If they've gone too far, they've lost their mind and they've gone feral. So but these people are like, they're like normal people.
And are feral ghouls kind of like clickers in Last of Us?
A little bit. Yeah.
That makes sense. Anyway, all I know is that actually, I shouldn't say I've never touched it. There was that mobile game about the bunkers.
Oh yeah.
I played that a little bit. I mean, obviously that's very different from the regular game.
Fallout Shelter, I think it was called.
Fallout Shelter. It's exactly what it was called. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Rocket Money. Do you struggle to save money every month? With Rocket Money, you can quickly identify all those sneaky subscriptions that keep charging you month after month and cancel any you no longer use. For example, did you know that over 80% of people have subscriptions that they've completely forgotten about? It's too easy to subscribe to a free trial of something and then completely forget about it once you stop using it. That's why I'm such a big fan of Rocket Money. I've told you guys before that when I started using Rocket Money, I realized that I was still subscribed to a gym in another city I had moved away from 2 years ago. Also, my music music service? Yeah, I found out I was still subscribed to 2 others. How much do you think you're paying a month on subscriptions? Most people think they're paying $80 a month, but they're actually paying closer to $200. That's why I use Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. With Rocket Money, you can easily cancel the ones you don't want with just the press of a button. With over 5 million users and counting, Rocket Money has helped save its customers on an average of $720 a year and $1 billion in total savings so far. So stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and manage your money the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/Campea. That's rocketmoney.com/Campea. rocketmoney.com/Campea. But this is one people have been excited about. I think the images look great. It's rare that just production images will get me excited about a project. So this has done it. I can't wait to see this.
I got a question for Jonathan. So this is set in like a post-apocalyptic.
So basically, the way it is everything in our history was the same up till the end of World War II. And then in this world, it's like they went above and beyond, like accepting nuclear energy into everything. And everything kind of had, right up until 2077 when the bombs dropped, it was a war between United States and China, maybe even Russia. Everything was like nuclear powered cars, everything. So it's almost like a 1950s stylized look, but in some ways they're like behind in our tech, but in some ways they're advanced in our tech because they adopted nuclear energy into everything.
Okay.
So it's weird. It's like, imagine the future, but it still kind of looks 50s style. But now it's all smashed to hell because nuclear holocaust.
But I'm trying to get, is it a survival game?
Yes.
Are you just going around just trying to survive? Is there
well,
someone
it depends
after you?
because like this last one, you're trying to find your son.
Oh, okay.
And then there's different storylines with this. So
but
this
it's just a world. They just create this world that they can tell a lot of different games and a lot of different stories in it.
Within the world.
Chris, you've not played this game?
I haven't. My friend Peter is obsessed with this game though, so I know some of the iconography and like the scorched earth kind of plague stuff going on in it. The Vanity Fair article, I've got to say, does have me really excited about it, just because everything that Nolan talks about in this article is just really intriguing to me. Obviously, Westworld kind of petered off for some of us towards the end there, but he definitely has a good grasp on these kind of post-apocalyptic, what happens with technology kind of stories, and a whole bunch of the stuff in here where he talks about levying the very stylized violence with a kind of winky sense of humor. I'm very excited about. And I did want to talk to Jonathan about this too, because he likens the ghoul to Virgil in Dante's Inferno, as someone who's escaped a hellish landscape but is there to be your guide still. Yeah. And I think that's such a weird turn, especially when you think of just like a video game adaptation. We don't think about equating it often to stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is that accurate,
I mean,
though?
and because they've lived for hundreds of years, you know what I mean? They've got a lot of wisdom. Well, they knew the world before.
That makes sense.
I'll tell you this. If this can knock it out of the park, and that's a big if.
Yeah.
That's a huge if. But if this can knock it out of the park, and then if their God of War series can knock it out of the park. Like a lot of people have been asking me because last was, okay, are we ready to say it? It's now the age of video game adaptations. It's like, nah. No. Like, because right now video game adaptations are like 3 and 107, right? That's a very bad win-loss record. But we're on a little bit of a roll right now. Again, if this can be great, and then if they can get God of War, because that one's coming too, if they can get that one and nail that one, we might be in a whole new era.
I'd love to see them go after like Elder Scrolls lore.
Ooh,
you know?
I'd
that
like
would be
to see
fun.
them take another shot at Warcraft. All due respect to what Duncan Jones did with that first, because that was not an easy undertaking.
Nope.
But I would love to see somebody take another shot at Warcraft. I think that could be a lot of fun. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.